Yeah. We get lit, we get fly, we get drunk, we get high. But to the masses, we have a podcast called Verified. I'm your host. I am JopauL. Make sure you check out the Verified podcast. We are brought to you by Radio Pushers and Results and NoHype.com. And we are also sponsored by Private Reserves. We got the most exclusive marijuana that's on the market today. I'm going to be smoking called Milkshake, and that shit. Okay, so if I decide to stutter or if I say some wild shit, blame it on Private Reserves. It's our new sponsor. I'm the brand ambassador, JopauL in the house, baby. And right now, we got a very, very special guest. We got somebody that I've been following for a very long time. And literally 5 days after I told somebody he should be verified, boom, blue check right there, verified. And now he's on the Verified podcast. You know him as the infamous Amadeus. You might have seen him DJing some of your hottest spots. You might have heard him on some of the most exclusive rap platforms because the boy got bars. Like I'm talking like Attica Sing bars. Okay. So best recognized. And he's a ghost producer and a producer. Like he made, I mean, it's not a public knowledge, but I know because I'm in the streets like that. But I heard a couple joints that you produced that I might expose today on the Verified podcast. I'm going to blame it on Private Reserves. Okay. Listen, it's like truth serum, okay? Got to get it out there. Without further ado, the infamous Amadeus. Welcome to the Verified podcast. How you doing, baby?
It's about time, man.
Yes, sir.
About time. I should have been on here, man. Long time ago. Because like you said, I'm verified in the streets and in real life. You know what I mean? So, facts. You know, it was weird how this whole thing kind of happened literally in like a week. Like, it was like Wiki, Blue Check, Nipsey video. 1 week. You know what I mean? It's like my whole career just culminated in 5 days.
That's right. Listen, and you got people fucking addicted out here. And for all those that don't know, he's not a drug. He's just the devil in disguise.
That's a fact.
That's a quote from his latest joint that I saw, and that shit is fire. Make sure everyone go check it out on all streaming platforms. The video on YouTube is fire. And basically, here at the Verified Podcast, we're an exclusive platform. We only interview verified artists. And I just want to say how the sun is coming in through your sunroof right now. It looks like you're a fucking angel right now. Pause. You know what I'm saying? But like, it looks like you're touched by God or some shit. So this is perfect.
It just literally came on as soon as they hit record.
Send me that filter. I need that shit. That's a filter right there. Come on, that shit looks sick. And you got the clouds through the sunroof. It looks like you're fucking in heaven right now, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah, it look bugged out. I mean, when it's your time to shine, it'll come to you, right? So it's like perfect timing, almost like niche.
There you go. Listen, it's fate. It's meant to be. You're meant to be here.
That's a fact.
So like I was saying, so we only interview verified artists. We jump into, who the actual artist is, how you got to where you go, where you're at, and basically, your overall story. It's more like a psychiatrist session, because we learn kind of what makes you tick and what sculpted you into who you are today. So let's jump right into it. The infamous Amadeus. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? Talk to us about, the little badass running around.
Yeah. So I'm actually from Marble Hill, which is technically considered Manhattan.
Okay.
If you look at the story of Marble Hill was basically water. And then essentially they filled it with landfill and created like a piece of land that was initially attached to Manhattan. But when New York started expanding uptown, they broke it off. So in the eyes of the city, it's considered Manhattan, but the zip code is the Bronx, and the people from Marble Hill actually identify with the Bronx.
Okay, so the real BX hit is when you claim the Bronx, ain't gonna be like, nah, you from Marble Hill.
Nah, it's considered the Bronx in the streets, and even the way it's labeled, it's 10463, so it's the Bronx because we get our mail in the Bronx. But the city of New York considers it Manhattan. Because I was getting this question a lot when people were reading my Wikipedia page. It says New York City, New York. And that's the reason why, because it's actually classified legally as Manhattan, even though it's the Bronx. But, I'm really from that area and uptown, the Heights. So it's like Dykeman, 207, Marble Hill. You know what I mean? I got my humble beginnings there.
Well, shit, this is more verified than Wikipedia. So he from the Bronx.
Yeah, from the Bronx. Quick story. I don't think I've ever told the story. So my mom used to work in Tower 1 of the World Trade Center for Andrew Bellotti, who was like the Attorney General of New York at the time. And my dad was a cook in One World Trade. And my mom's water actually broke in the World Trade Center on the 49th floor. So my life been a movie really since the day I came out. Water broke. My dad, he didn't really talk that much English, and he was like a crazy ass nigga. So he fucking got my mom's and drove on the wrong side of the Brooklyn Bridge on the oncoming traffic. Like, this is shit. You can't make this shit up. It's like movie shit. So I was born in Beekman Hospital in Manhattan, but Beekman Hospital is literally right by the World Trade. My dad was so fucking crazy that he didn't really understand directions and shit. I think I got on the wrong side of the highway. But yeah, that's a fun fact about me. I was literally damn near born in the World Trade Center.
So was it like did it like kind of hit close to home when those towers came down? Because it was like, you know, it was like a part of you, because that's where your mom worked, that's where your father worked, you know, and that's where you were kind of, you know, I mean, I don't know, were you conceived there?
Probably. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe on the roof. Yeah. Now, of course, because that's definitely, you know, had, you know, life maybe went a different course, my mom technically would have still probably worked in that building. You know what I'm saying? My mom would have worked in the building, but because, you know, obviously the crack, you know, epidemic came, and, you know, both my parents were a victim of that. And I say a victim of it because people at this time didn't really, if you were from the 70s and 80s, cocaine and shit like that was normal, right? So
right, it was a party drug. It was like Studio 54, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're just gonna party, have a good time.
You know what I mean? Heroin and shit like that was normal. So, you know, in the 70s and 80s, we might be here fucking sniffing lines and doing other shit. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, they both fell a victim to that. So that kind of hindered the course of the way things played out and why my mom wasn't working there long term. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, it was bad, but it was good. But these are the things that kind of molded, you know, who I was and honestly who I became.
Okay. Now, when you were I assume like you were young, you know, when your parents fell victim to, you know, the drug epidemic.
Yeah.
Now, were you old enough to understand what was going on, or did you tell yourself something like, oh, they're just sick, you know, like mommy has a fever, you know, and daddy has a stomach ache, and, you know, I just gotta fend for myself? Like, how to, like, mentally, can you put yourself back there? And if it's anything triggering, you can tell me, like, Joe, shut the fuck up. We don't need to talk about it.
It's all good. This is good to speak about, because, you know, people see successful people and they just think that they got there. Right.
Right.
And
they don't realize you're a human being. You've been through some shit. Like, I mean, it's not like you're impervious to the trials and tribulations of life, and, you know, idolizing celebrities like, you know, like they're just like immune to fucking, you know, everyday problems. This is why we have you on the podcast. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. So as far as like at that specific time, no, because this was very early on. So this is like, you know, ages 1 to 6, but you feel the wrath of that throughout your whole life until you kind of become independent, right? Until you're on your own. So no, I didn't know what was going on, obviously, because I was younger, but, you know, with abuse and you know what I'm saying, being in a low poverty situation with no food and niggas running in the crib trying to rob the crib because niggas owe money for this and that. You know what I'm saying? You definitely kind of get a picture of it once you're able to understand exactly what's going on. You see what I'm saying? So I would say yes and no, because obviously a 3-year-old doesn't understand what's going on. But when you're 7 and you're 8 and you start to develop as a human being, it's easy to see what was the repercussions of that time. You know what I'm saying? And you know, shout out my mom, because my mom, she once her and my dad separated, she threw that part of her life away and never looked back. You know what I'm saying? It did affect her throughout her life, obviously, but because the course of her life may have changed had she stood working and shit like that. But yeah, and I think that affected us all. Anybody who lived in that time, you know what I'm saying? It affected us all. You know what I mean? You know, especially when you're dealing with in low poverty situations, you're a minority. So you already have that against you, and then you're dealing with drugs just ramping the whole entire community.
Right.
You
Not
know
to
what I'm
mention
saying?
that not to mention that the system is designed to really not help you, but actually to keep you down, especially during those times. And
Yeah.
racial profiling, and there was a lot of shit to basically put both of your hands and tie them behind your back and basically say, okay, now you got to run this marathon. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna put this blindfold on you also, so you can't see where you're going and you can't feel where you got to get to. So, you have any brothers or sisters?
I have one sister and one brother, Fabian. God rest his soul. He was murdered
God bless the dead.
probably 2005, 6. I'm not really sure what day. But yeah, he was. The interesting story about my brother was I only met my brother twice.
Okay.
Because he was in Puerto Rico with my dad, and when I had finally finished my prison situation, because I did a certain amount of time, but I was fighting cases and dealing with parole and shit like that. Once I had started to get my life together, I was very interested in trying to get him to bring him to New York. You know what I'm saying? And then I had found out that he actually got murdered, like in the process of me trying to find him. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't find him. So, but yeah, one brother, one sister. Siblings are an extension of you, right? So you're drawn to your siblings in a way that you're not drawn to any other human being, even
Yeah,
your children. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah.
I'd have to imagine, growing up in that situation where and it's not even like you had like absentee parents, but it's like under the influence of drugs. It's like sometimes they're not there for you as much as, a child really, would like them to be. So you kind of gravitate towards your siblings to kind of fill that void. So you still close with your sister right now?
Yeah. I love my sister, man. She
Awesome.
moved to Florida. I just actually went to go see her and my nieces and nephews, and you know what I mean, just bond with her a little more. And she's trying to be an entrepreneur as well. So, hopefully, give us some of the skills that I've learned. Because obviously I'm a big inspiration for not only her, but people around me. You have someone that came from a crack home that defied everything that they said you couldn't do and did it. But not only did it, but executed as in a high level in multiple different situations.
And,
Right?
and
It's
and independent. Like from what I know
and
about your story,
independent.
nobody did jack shit for you. You did it all yourself. I mean, I know that there were people that were instrumental for maybe kind of putting you a little in that position, but it's almost like, listen, here's the pair of running shoes, and you all of a sudden, you won the fucking marathon. So, from what I know about your story, and I encourage everyone to learn your story, and hopefully we could tell a good portion of it here. It's like you have a true entrepreneurial spirit, and you have a philanthropic. I think I'm pronouncing the word right. I mean, this week got me fucking twisted. And you have you have a give back to you. You ain't about just you making it. You like to send the elevator down and be like, all right, come up to the penthouse. Let's see if you got what it takes to be up in here. And you do it in a pretty nonchalant way. You ain't which is weird because when I first met you, I told Torres, I was like, he's a DJ and an artist. I was like, he looks like a fucking Sicario for the fucking cartels.
Yeah.
and he and he looked at me like this, like he might be. I was like, okay. I was like, I know not to piss him off, but all right, so that's cool. You got still a good relationship with your sister. When did you first discover hip hop?
Joe Public Live and Learn
Okay.
was the first song that made me inquire about the potential of being hip hop, because hip hop is a lifestyle. It's what you eat, it's how you talk, how you dress, how you conduct yourself. And Joe Public Live and Learn. I said this before on Wu Kid, and it's the most random song because a lot of people actually don't know this song, but I resonated with the song because the record was talking about essentially someone who was stuck in like an urban structure and not being able to get out and being caught in just drugs and fame and that type of thing. And I found it utterly cool that, here were these guys basically playing drums and guitars in the back of a building in Harlem, and then they're on the side of the West Side Highway busting the guitar down, and they was singing and they was rapping, and the beat was like a new jack swing type of shit. And I was like, you know what? This is dope. This is something that I can resonate to, especially at a time where I really didn't have anything to resonate to, right? It's like, after my mom and my dad separated, my dad was just fucking gone pretty much. You know what I'm saying? He bounced, and it was, single parent home, and you don't really have that many people that you could kind of look up to. Mom is doing the best she can, trying to figure out her own shit. You know what I'm saying? Let alone how to raise a young man in this world. You know what I'm saying? And then she had my sister. So it became even more difficult. So hip hop was something that I was drawn to as a way, like, you know what? This is something that I think I could be a part of long term.
Hip hop filled the void of the absentee parent right there.
Absolutely. A gazillion percent. Getting tapes, and the first tape that I ever had was Snoop Dogg Doggy Style. My mom's bought it for me. I had no business being 10 years old with this tape, but hearing these guys like West Coast funk, low riders, they spitting bars, the beats is crazy. I'm like, nah, this is fire. And then when I got my hands on Illmatic, then I started to resonate differently with hip hop, because it was a lingo that I could relate to, because it was based in New York.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? The Doggy Style shit was fire because it was hip hop, but it was LA. So it's like fantasizing about a life that you don't see every day. But when I heard
Illmatic, that was like the next, like it was almost like one step from being an actual god when it comes to wordplay. I think we gravitated a lot towards the West Coast and Snoop, because it was those videos where there was the blurry scenes where you don't know what was on the hat, and they're showing titties, and it's like, it just looks like it's like so much fun. Where they had MTV kind of on Smash. The only thing that we kind of had, when you think back, is like, we had MTV Raps, don't get me wrong, but what were the videos that really got the airplay on MTV? It was really only Onyx. With throw your guns and slam. So when we saw the West Coast
music box,
which we didn't really get in Staten Island. Like, we didn't have we didn't have access to BCAT TV, which when I moved to Brooklyn, I was like, yes, I have video music box. I could actually watch this shit now. So it's like, unless you had a pirated computer, back in the day, you couldn't have access to it in Staten Island.
Yeah. But because as I explained earlier, because Marble Hill is considered Manhattan, the one thing that we had was Manhattan cable. So now we got access to video music box. And then my grandmother and my aunt, they from 110th in Harlem. So when I would go there, I would also have access to video music box. And that's how I kind of got familiar with a lot of the underground acts besides Onyx, like, like Das Effects, like Smith and Wesson, like, of course, Nas and Wu-Tang. Ralph McDaniel was shooting a lot of these videos. I didn't even know that until I interviewed Ralph McDaniels about like a year ago. I didn't even know he was directing Ice Cream and the whole, Illmatic album. I had no clue about this. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
Neither did I. I'm a hip hop nerd, and like, I like, I like to sit back and sponge. Like, my brain's like a sponge for hip hop, and I can't get enough of it. I never knew that. That's pretty funny.
Ralph McDaniels was like the original Hype Williams.
Hype Williams. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
He shot a lot of those videos.
Now, do you think that, him wearing many hats, like, also led to you also maybe picking up the camera? Like, what inspired you to shoot your own videos, or were you just...
So really, it's because niggas ain't want to do shit for me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And I'm self-efficient. So I'm not going to sit around and wait for niggas to shoot my videos and interview me and play my shit on the radio. And I'm not waiting for that. And I'm also not going to use anything as an excuse on why I can't do it. Right? Because this is
Say that again. Do me a favor. Say that again. Say that again for the viewers that really have an entrepreneurial spirit. But say that again.
In a nutshell, the reason why you see me do all these things is because I wasn't going to wait for no one to do it for me. And I'm not gonna use anything as an excuse on why I can't do it. Because the only person that limits you is yourself. Period. You can do whatever the fuck you want in life. I had these conversations early on as a kid, right? So because we are all minorities, including Italians. Let's be clear. When you go and you fill out a job.
I'm not Italian, just in case you said that, but I do feel you because I am Jewish, so we are considered a minority. So
you are, yeah. So basically, when you fill out a job application, the battle lines are very clearly drawn. You got white,
non-Hispanic,
and white is classified as descendants of Britain. And then you have everything else. You got Latin American, Mexican, who are fucking Spanish, but you got Mexican, you got Asian, you got Jewish, you got Polish, you got German, you got this and the third, right? So I understood early on that in the eyes of the world, we are all minorities. It's not just limited to one race. So I became very inquisitive as I would go to my neighborhood, and I would see that all the businesses were not owned by white people. They were all owned by minorities. The Jamaican spot, boom. The Haitian guy, he got the white tees. The Chinese lady, she got the Chinese spot. The Korean lady, she got the laundry. Then the Dominicans got the bodega. Then Puerto Ricans got another bodega. Then the Arabs got the corner store. I'm like, wait, they just like me. So if they could do it, I have no excuse on why I can't achieve whatever I want to. Because these are people that came to this country with nothing, shit. They don't even got citizenship. And they managed to go and buy, and I'm from Broadway. So Broadway is high real estate, no matter where you are on Broadway. I'm talking about Broadway, like Manhattan Broadway going up to the Bronx. If they can do this, I can definitely do it. So it was a combination of hip hop and a combination of understanding where the battle lines are actually drawn when it comes to being successful in America, and understanding that, you know what, I can do it. These projects that I live in is not my final calling. Because even living in the projects is weird. Like most projects, when you come outside, it's like a circle. Mm-hmm. You come out your building, they're designed
to keep you in there, just to go around and around and go back to where you came.
They're designed for you to see other buildings. Come out your building, you see another building. You go to the basketball court, you see buildings. You're in a circle. I was very inquisitive early on about what's outside of these buildings. You know what I mean? And this goes back to why I learned so many traits. I just wasn't going to let nothing stop me. I wasn't going to let anything be an excuse on why I couldn't achieve what I want to achieve.
And it's great that you used hip hop as a vessel. Now, like a lot of us in hip hop, did you embrace some of the other, elements of hip hop? Like, were you a b-boy? Did you write graffiti? We know that you're, a rapper, because you spit better than fucking 95% of the people that I've heard out there. So, I applaud you as a true lyricist, because that's what I dig. My name was Lyric Enforcer for like since 1996. I rap with, some of the illest, rappers that, you ever heard, like Smooth the Hustler, Trigger the Gambler, DV Alias Christ, even Ice-T. So it's like, as a real lyricist, I respect that. So did you embrace any other element of hip hop growing up?
I started as a beat maker, and I learned how to rap at the same time. Besides that, no. And DJing is something that came later on. Yeah, because I'm actually a lyricist first, but because I'm technically labeled as a DJ, people equate it the other way. But when they hear these stories, they start to understand, like, wait, he really became a DJ because niggas ain't want to play his record, so he just became a DJ so he could play his own fucking record.
Genius. Shit, why do you think I started a podcast? Because I want to indirectly promote myself at the exact same time. It's like, listen, exactly. I'm a shine the light on you, even though God is shining the light on you right now through your car.
I appreciate it. Yeah, outside.
But indirectly, it's like it's a way for y'all motherfuckers to fall in love with me, because I'm not a dick, so it's like easy to be like, oh shit, I fucks with him, and he got bars too. It's like, there's something about this kid.
They fuck with it. Plus, I've grown because I love hip hop so much. I have a certain admiration for all the elements of hip hop, from tagging to b-boying to just everything that entails, hip hop. So, as I've grown, I've definitely made sure when I set the elevator back down, everyone's included, not only lyricists.
That's what's up.
Everyone's included. I'm not setting the elevator down just for rappers. If you got something that you can contribute, you're more than welcome to get on this elevator and get back to where I am.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you pointed it out, because you posted something on your Instagram that I wanted to touch on, and it's basically saying exactly the same thing, that it's not just about lyricists. It's like anybody that got respect for the true love of hip hop, whether it's a content creator, if you have a show, if you have something to add, you're giving them a platform to kind of basically audition for. So, if there's anyone listening right now, why don't you tell them exactly what you're looking for? So this way we can plug that real quick. That was a little shameless plug, but you like the way I segued into that. Like I'm just nice with it. Shit.
So besides what they see me doing with SiriusXM, I have my own radio platform called Live 89 FM. It's under iHeartMedia. It's essentially the SiriusXM Shade 45 audience. It's a real heavy hip hop lyricist audience that they like to listen to, 2005 and back. And I see a lot of guys who are kind of stuck in like this circle. It's like, you got like SoundCloud, you got Mixcloud, you have like IG, Twitch, but how do they get beyond that? So I created this platform to try to get guys, if they want it, beyond the platforms and get to some of these like real consumer listeners. Because a lot of times DJs end up just kind of DJing for rappers, but they're not actually DJing for a consumer. The consumer is the people that's going to change your life. The 9-to-5 people are the ones that's going to actually change your life and make you who you need to become. But you have to break out of that circle. And it's not the DJ's fault. The DJ is just trying to DJ for whoever's going to listen. So if the underground lyricists are going to listen, that's the people they're going to go for. If a podcast targets auto-tune guys and they're going to listen, that's what they're going to go for. I'm trying to really bridge the gap, because we're in a very unique space right now where things are changing, and they've been changing, but people don't really know that they're changing because they're following a format that is not relevant no more, which is terrestrial radio, right? Terrestrial radio. Our guys make records for terrestrial radio.
You kind of hit it right on the head before when you said it's not the DJ's fault. It's not the DJ's fault. Unfortunately, the power has been taken away from them, and it's now about like the Spotify playlists and the curated playlist, on different things that get you like 1 million streams. I mean, if DJs understood that they can literally bring it back to how they did with the mixtapes back in the day, and they can curate their own playlist. The problem is that on Instagram now you have like 20 artists that are like, if you're nice, DM me, and we'll work. And it's all like, pay $500 and you'll get on this playlist, that I'm hosting, and it's not a scam, but it's a scam, but it kind of looks like a scam, but it kind of is. So it's like, I just wanted to touch base on that the DJs, it is really not their fault, because they're not the power players anymore. And I feel like they've also, and DJs, don't kill me, because I love every single one of you. I feel like they've gone a little soft with taking chances with trying to break a record. Like, when has it become uncool for you to be the first person to play the record and introduce that to the world or your platform?
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is there's two issues. One, DJs unfortunately get playlisted, meaning that when DJs, like, I don't fall a victim to this, but if you were to go to Hot 87, all mixed weekend, they have all mixed weekend, Labor Day weekend, I Am JopauL is a guest DJ. When you walk in that building, you got 20 songs that you got to play. It's not like you have room to do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You got 20 songs that you got to follow that format. And the next DJ has to do the same thing, but in a different order. And then this guy, so there kind of is no room on that station. The problem becomes is like when you look at people that own vehicles in America, right? If you just look at car owners are generally 30 and up, right? So why is radio playing music that's targeted to an audience that doesn't resonate with an 18-year-old sound, right?
Because they think by following the old form. I'm glad I love getting into nerd shit like this when it comes to that. Like, if you and anyone that cares, like, there's like a 2-hour episode of me, DJ Dramos, and Latin Prince getting into all of this. The problem is that the radio programmers or the white power players that really don't know shit about hip hop think that if they just curate their own playlist and send it down the food chain from what's the top on Spotify in the trap category or the drill category. But meanwhile, a lot of those fucking, streams are fucking fake anyway, but they don't know, and they're trying to attract that younger demographic, but yet those motherfuckers ain't listening to the radio.
They're not.
So why would they target them unless they're like, oh, maybe if we play them, maybe we'll get the young kids, back to listen. Listen, the young kids are not going to listen to radio. They are on TikTok and other vehicles besides radio. It's a dying art.
Well, not only that, the young kids don't have access to radio the way me and you had access to. You had a radio in your house.
In your house and the car.
Or you had the cassette, you had your Walkman that had a radio attached to the Walkman, right?
God bless. And you had to sometimes, sometimes you had to go and steal fucking aluminum foil from the store, and you had to create your own antenna to put on that shit just so you can hear Stretch and Bobbito play Wu-Tang.
Yeah, and shout out to Lord Sear, who was a part of that Stretch and Bobbito show. That's my fucking brother forever. I'm sure we'll get into that later on. But yeah, so that is the point, right? So with SiriusXM, I'm in a very unique situation with SiriusXM. One, because I'm with someone that is from that Stretch and Bobbito lineage, right? So now I can stay in the lane that I want to stay in. And in the beginning, when I first became a DJ, I made the mistake of trying to blend in with the younger audience. No, because also at this time, in all fairness, I was also DJing in a lot of clubs. So I was taking the club vibe and transforming over the radio. So it really took me like a year and a half to kind of figure out where my audience is when it came down to what they want to listen to me play as a DJ. And it just so happened that they're in the same lane of what I want to hear, right? So this made it comfortable. This is how my DJ career has been able to really catapult, because I'm playing what my audience wants, right? And DJs make that mistake too. When I made that mistake as first becoming a DJ, where I was playing for me and not playing for the crowd, right? So this is a very unique situation. So SiriusXM, was blessed that we don't have this issue. We don't have this issue. And also confined with the fact that people only listen to what they pay for, right? We spoke about this. So like you listen to Spotify because you pay for Spotify. You listen to Apple Music because you pay for Apple Music. If you don't have it free, you go to free iTunes or free this. Fortunately, SiriusXM is a platform that people pay for. So because they pay for it, they listen to it. You get in your car at 3 o'clock, INPHAMUS AMADEUZ on a Thursday is playing throwback shit for the whole hour. And people lock the fuck in.
Shade 45, Thursday, 3 p.m. Check.
3 p.m. Check it.
I got you. Shade 45. let me get that check.
Yeah.
So and the cool thing is that like you're enjoying it because that's kind of your genre. That's your bread and butter, so to speak. And I know that you're an eclectic and you like a lot of other shit, but it's a blessing to be able to like for instance, like for me, like I said, I've been in the music business since 1996, and a lot of these, legends and artists, it's like I grew up listening to. It's like now I get to have these conversations with, all the time. Like, I mean, I got to have a 2-hour conversation with Wendy Day from the Rap Coalition. I've been trying to get her my CD since 1995. So it's like, I can totally respect the fact you're doing something that, in your genre or in your lane, because it's like, it's a blessing for me to interview people like you, like Mike Geronimo, like, Capone, and all of these legends. That's my lane. I'm not scared to interview anyone else. And I have had other people, but doesn't it feel great to just basically have all your hard work finally pay off, that now you're in a lane where, one, you're independent, two, you're doing something that you like in the genre that you're doing, and you kind of have say in whatever the fuck you do.
Yeah, this is great. And not only that,
not bad, my brother, not bad at all.
Not only that, but I think the best thing about it is being able to set trends that are happening not only in front of me, but across the platform in front of me, because we're doing a lot of things that are going viral like almost every day, from like top 5 questions to just artists like during the pandemic, Busy Bone talking about verses and just all those different types of things. And I've been able to not rejuvenate some of these artists, like Jazzo, for example. Jazzo, you know what I'm saying? I got him. We released a Nipsey Hussle single. He's fucking back like it's 1997. You know what I'm saying? Granddaddy IU, same thing. He wasn't really interested in doing music. I'm like, yo, fuck that. Give me the record. We're gonna put this record out. Boom. Now he's ready to get back in the studio. Paula Perry. I got Paula Perry's single dropping on the 13th. You ever heard of Paula Perry since 97? She's rejuvenated, spitting balls like she's still in Fort Greene. You know what I mean? So this is also a part of it. It's like, okay, how can we go and take what we love, the platform that we have, but bring light to some of these artists? Because in order for the new batch to come out, we got to push the catalyst for the genre first.
Of course, because listen, once listen, hip hop is the same thing as it's been, and we just have to bring it back to what it used to be, where it's a popularity contest, where where we are the cool people again. We are the popular ones. We're the ones that you want to follow the trends. The problem is that there's so much access to so many different artists that it's hard for people of a certain age to find their core fan base again.
Yeah.
Unless they're conforming to, what society thinks. Like, for instance, so I had this conversation with, are you familiar with Shampoo?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So Shampoo's my brother. And we had this conversation, because he now manages Mike Geronimo. Yeah. Mike Geronimo is probably, and we just got back from Miami. Shout out to my whole YMBS team, Shampoo, Mike Geronimo. We had a blast in Miami, performed for Smoke Champs, and we got lit at the Dream Hotel. Amazing. I'm sorry, I bring this up because Mike Geronimo is one of the sickest lyricists that I've ever heard. And so he has this boom bap song that they're pushing right now, which is phenomenal. It's a great song, and I love it. But the second single that he's coming out with is like this drill record where he takes these kids' style, and he makes it his own and adds bars to it. And it is fucking fire. Like, I looked at Shampoo like this, like almost like money signs, like this song is gonna blow. And I told him, so it's like sometimes it's okay to conform as long as you understand that you're trying to, just like any business, it's an acquisition. You're trying to acquire new listeners that never heard of you before. So I understand completely, what you were talking about in that aspect.
Yeah. It's a very, because now that I'm a distributor, it's trying to figure out how to re-engage an audience that has been unengaged for 20 years. When radio shifted, the listener shifted as well, but they didn't keep going with the artists. Meaning that Mike Geronimo, I think he, because I interviewed him too, he said he hasn't dropped like 20 years or whatever, but Granddaddy IU, perfect example. Granddaddy IU has dropped maybe 5-6 projects since you heard of him in the 90s, but the fans didn't follow because when radio changed, they went back to Smooth Assassin. They went back to the classic shit. They not following. So it's trying to figure out, okay, how do we re-engage that fan base and let these guys know that they're still dropping music, but also gain the new batch of hip-hop fans that are there. We have this whole Zelda fan base. We have just a reemergence of lo-fi, and even someone like Tyler, the Creator. The signs are there. People giving Tyler, Creator shit. Guess what? You know what?
He's phenomenal. Like, he's literally, and as a content creator, and the stuff that he says and the lane that he goes, he's got almost like a cult following, and that's what a lot of artists need, nowadays, especially with so much access to your music. You just got to figure out how you can do it, and you're not going to get it done for free. Like, all you artists, that the days of you having a hot song and a viral video is gone. There's so much content out there. You need to have so much more substance. Take it from me and Amadeus, people that wear many hats in the industry, and we're still not where we want to be.
So, back to Tyler, Creator, DJ Khaled spent $5 million on one album, $7 million on another album. He debuted number 2 twice. Debuted number 1 on both albums? Tyler, the Creator. Tyler, Creator was just in the Grammys doing a fucking boom bap record in a hurricane. A boom bap record in a hurricane. How can you
know what that is? That's hip hop.
That's hip hop. And it's also signifying how the industry is trying to push you away from this. That performance was amazing. People didn't catch it because people are too caught up in like, oh, well, you know, they may think he's this way and that way. Nigga, he's doing our shit in the biggest platform in the world. I just seen Rolling Loud. You know, I seen Rolling Loud, Griselda. When was the last time you seen real rappers in Rolling Loud? It's happening. Look what Rosenberg is doing. Look what we're doing. It's happening. The question is, how do you push it forward and cross it over?
Well, it's people like, I mean, I don't have kids, but it's the people that have kids that are official down with hip hop need to teach their kids better and be like, yo, you need to respect the elders. You need to, understand that without majority of these people that laid that yellow brick road, Dorothy ain't got a path to fucking go see the fuck, go fuck, Oz.
Yeah, it's a fact.
So anyway, in touching back to your story, which, that was a great conversation, by the way. I think we got sidetracked like 7 times, but we didn't fucking miss a beat. And that's hip hop.
We are. Yeah, that is hip hop.
So I respect that. I'm having a good time. So what was the first time that you tried to spit bars and you were like, oh shit, like I'm nice with this? Were you rapping with your friend? I want you to really paint the picture. So, these artists out there that think that they could just, basically run on the song and be like, yeah, I got a gun. Hey, I had some fun. Hey, I chew on some gum. Hey, and then I was done. Hey, now ski. So I want you to talk about real hip hop. When did you realize, that you were kind of nice with it? And when did you first start trying to write bars? When you started writing, and when did you realize that you were nice?
Yeah. So my first experience with writing, I used to write Tupac's lyrics out. And this is how I learned to formulate a bar, but also to write what I was hearing so I could articulate it correctly. Like when I was thinking about rap. So I probably wrote damn near CD 1 of All Eyes on Me, the complete CD out. I was writing it out.
And which one was like your favorite song? Because I'm a Tupac like fanatic, and I did the same thing. And when I heard, the way his cadence and the way he was like when he said, and I said this on another podcast, when he said, stressing my vision's blurry. The question is, will I live? No one in the world loves me up. Like I was like, holy shit! I was like, the way he put that, like, and I was hooked, right from there.
Honestly, the record that really got me was the Got My Mom Made Up record.
Okay.
With Meth, Red, and Dog Pound, because it had niggas that I could resonate with as well. Because remember, at this time, you a kid, you just think Pac's from the West. You don't even know he's from the Bronx. You don't know
from Baltimore.
Yeah, you don't know none of that. You just know that he's on the West Coast, he's death row, and he's fire, and that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I used to write it down, and then I've always been very particular about metaphors, right? I from day one, I've never actually just written something that was like, A, B, C, D.
No basic shit.
Nah, it's always double entendres. If you listen to the way I rap, there's 2 words rapping, not one.
Oh, I do. What, especially when I heard the word, when I heard the line, I'm not a drug, I'm just the devil in disguise. It was like, I have a similar line, where I say, on the ground, I'm like God, but I'm a devil in disguise.
Yeah. See?
You know what I'm saying? So I have the double. Like so I respect the double entendres every day. And trust me, my audience, he's got bars. You like bars? Here we go. We're not talking about candy bars either.
And what's ill? On my new album, I actually put the second rhyme that I ever wrote in my new album. I have a verse on my new album that's probably 25 years old.
That's crazy. Do you still remember? Do you still remember the first rhyme you ever wrote?
Nah, but I remembered the second one.
Okay. So the second one made the album. Got it.
Yeah, so it was like y'all played and lose. It's like y'all played and lose, youngin', while I played for keeps with Ace and Heath. I got my mind high for weeks on the dance floor with heat to melt the gold in your teeth. Scoop a freak, then I beat and throw my dick in the cheek. It ain't sweet. Bring your fleet. I got millions of peeps to shoot up your Jeep and leave your brains laying on the street. So at that time, I was very like BL-ish. Like very like every line rhymes. There's two, there's two lines there's two words that rap. And then
there's two syllables that are gonna rhyme with another two
yes,
syllables. Instead of just, rhyming with the cat and hat, you're doing,
yes, yeah,
I'm a
exactly.
pro with that. I'm a show with that. I'm a run in while I'm fucking holding the gap.
Yeah, the two lines. And that was the thing that attracted me to real lyricists like the Big L's of the world, like Cannabis was another one. When I heard that motherfucker on the mixtapes, I'm like, oh shit. See, a lot of people compare me to Jadakiss because of the voice, the raspiness. But if you really listen to what I'm saying, it's more Cannabis-ish. It's more like intergalactic and like, you know what I'm saying? And just crazy shit that I be saying like that. Like, what the fuck this guy saying? I got that shit
right.
Listening to this motherfucker on the mixtapes, on the Clue mixtapes, with a combination of Big L, a combination of them two. Big L taught me like the double syllable thing that we was talking about. Cannabis taught me about making the most outrageous line possible in your rhyme. You know what I'm saying? Right. And when you hear me rap, I take my time writing every rhyme. Sometimes 3 hours. Sometimes
Same.
Sometimes
I'm a huge Cannabis fan. When I heard him, say, whenever the head of the human body is severed, it leaves the brain cell long for 10 seconds to tell Lucifer.
I know. Don't ever get it confused. Fucking with Cannabis, the human Rubik's Cube.
You got something to prove. I'm above the law. Bro, when I heard that shit, I was like, damn, I need practice. I was like, because
that nigga was bugged out. And then I was smoking that 97 Dykeman haze. So that shit was like,
oh man, I love that Uptown haze, man. I would give anything to smoke that. I mean, listen,
I got some here. Look, I got that's all I smoke.
Yo, pass it through the phone. What are you doing, bro?
That's all I smoke is 97 Dykeman haze.
Pass it through the phone.
97 Dykeman haze. That's all I smoke, man. I don't smoke nothing else. 97. If you're gonna be 90s, I'm living 90s all the way. The way I talk, the way what I drive, what I smoke. I was at shout out to Stone Slices. They got the joint in Coney Island. They smoking Zaza. I lit up the 97. Everybody's like fucking nose in the air. Like, this shit crazy. But yeah,
that shit and Branson. Those were like
Branson crazy.
You want to talk about a weed, like a taste, a scent, and a smell of an era. It's Branson and Uptown Haze.
Yeah. So that's why I kind of look and I was just alluding to the fact that sometimes it takes me like 2-3 days to write a rhyme, not because, and at this point in my career, it's hard for me to focus on just being a rapper. In all fairness, it's not like I just have all day to rap, but I'll be driving, I'll come up with 4 bars, put it to the side. Next day I'm drinking, boom, another 4 bars, because I really care about every line. So when people hear me rap, just know that I care about every line.
Every line. Fucking bar.
Every fucking line, from the first line to the last line. I'm really thinking about every line, and I want to articulate it in a way where people are like, holy shit, I gotta go back and like, you know what I'm saying?
Now, do you think so I have an appreciation for that. And I'm so glad you brought this up, because we're going to nerd out on some hip hop fucking barism, real fast. And it's so funny. My first album was called The Art of Lyricism, because I really preached that shit. I mean, my name was Lyric Enforcer. I better be a good rapper. I rap myself out of out of getting murdered. I rap myself out of getting arrested. So like, trust me, I'm sick with it. So when it comes to the bars, it's like do you think that people really respect the bars as much as we respect them? Because it's like, it's like people just want to be like, do you think people just want to listen to, I'm a runner, I'm a track star, see I run away when I get hot, with that auto-tune, melody? Because some of the bars that I say, I feel like might go over people's heads because they're too intricate. So let's talk about that for a second.
I'm going to tell you the solution to this whole problem. Breaking hip hop down into genres. As soon as they officially do that, this whole shit is going to change, because right now hip hop is classified as one style of music when it no longer is. Right? So people don't have a chance to tell the difference between
differentiate.
Between the Atlanta sound, which is Young Thug, Gunna, Lil Baby. Then you got Miami. You got City Girls. Then you got Philly. They sound one way. Then you got New York drill, let's say. Then you got Buffalo. That's boom bap. Then you got Midwest drill. Then you got LA niggas. And let me say, LA, they still rapping over there. So this is the problem. It's like it's all categorized in one pot. Like it's unfair to both Nas and Lil Baby that they're basically categorizing the same thing in the Grammys. It's unfair. It is. Bottom line, you know what I'm saying? Lil Baby had an amazing career. He raps, he got auto-tune, but he has an amazing year. His album was fire, but he's competing against Nas, legendary. You know what I'm saying?
So whose fault is that? You know, being that like people of our age and maybe a little bit older are the gatekeepers of what is defined as hip hop. Where did we go wrong? Like, when are we going to be able to not just generalize, you know, hip hop? Because hip hop is the number one, you know, consumed music genre
in the world.
You know, so if hip hop is the parent, it's like there needs to be a trap, drill.
Yeah.
You know, so almost like a segregation of it. I mean, it could be all classified under hip hop, but there needs to be subgenres because people need to be able to find their own audience in whatever they're doing.
I think it's gonna start with Billboard and Nielsen SoundScan. That's step one, because hip hop needs to be broken down like how rock and roll is. And people hear me say this all the time.
Agreed.
You have classic rock, alternative rock, soft rock, country rock, hardcore metal, this and the third. It's the same thing with hip hop. And this is why people can't really find what they want to find, because it's like if you go to iTunes, it's just hip hop. And then you got Nas dropping an album, you got Jay-Z dropping an album, and then next to fucking 42 Doug and all these other kids, you know what I'm saying? And the kids are the biggest consumers, so that's why it's higher. Kids are on their phone all day. You know what I'm saying? Adults don't have the time to do that. So Lloyd Banks is never going to stream as much as Lil Baby. But if they were put in separate categories, now you could strategically go and say, oh shit, Lloyd Banks, and you can find like artists. Oh shit, Lloyd Banks. Nipsey Hussle got an album that they didn't release. That's out. Or, you know, this guy, Rick Ross, or whoever, Styles P, or whoever you want to listen to.
Granted, how much of that falls on the artist's responsibility nowadays with how much access they have to social media, to the internet, you know, to like how much of that falls on the artist in not properly providing the place where they can be bought or they can be streamed? I
still think that it still comes down to the way things are listed. Because remember,
it's the system's fault because they can only do so much.
Okay, I have basically 4 teenagers in my house, right? I have 4 teenagers in my house. All of the children in my house who are teenagers find artists by listening to other like artists, and it's the way that it's listed. If you go to YouTube, and you listen to Lil Baby, then the next one is this guy, and the next one is that guy, you basically gonna find like artists. With the boom bap artists, there's no definition because they're caught in the same realm as these other guys. So how can we define who is who?
Do you feel like boom bap? Let's just subcategorize it just for the sake of this conversation. I almost said argument, conversation, because this is a great conversation. Do you feel like the algorithms are not catering to us, and they're only catering to like the money makers or the Little Babies, the Skywalkers, the what's popping now according to the 18 to 24 demographic? Yeah. Do you think that they're kind of like just outcasting us and blacklisting us?
No. I think the issue is it's half of what you said before, which is artists not properly knowing when to post, artists over posting. Instagram and TikTok is a weird place where it's like, you know, one post erases the other post. You got to get into a posting schedule that goes in your team, your management, your publisher should tell you, listen, you only post on noon, never post Wednesday, never post Friday, always put new shit out on Sunday, new shit out on this day. You know what I'm saying? Getting on a posting schedule. But until the classification changes, there's no way to properly drive the algorithm because we're competing against children who are basically on the fucking phone all day. So we
got jobs, responsibilities, and the fact, and I'm so glad that you brought that up. That you have 4 teenagers. It's like you have 5 children. And I learned a lot about your story, and I got to say that, I don't know how you do it, but and I'm not going to get into too much about it because that's like highly personal, what I'm saying. But you basically inherited,
Yeah, we can
kids
talk about
from.
it. It's cool. It's cool. We can talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, so for my guests that don't know, so he has he has three children of his own, and you inherited two kids from your wife's sister, who
Yeah.
unfortunately passed away of cancer. So
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I applaud you, just on some G shit, as a man to
Appreciate that. Yeah.
basically stepping up when you already have three children.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
already doing things.
Yeah.
So the fact that you were able
Yeah.
to do that, it sends a message to the people that might have been like, nah, I can't do that. I got this. You got heart. You know what I'm saying? Like above all the talent that you have, it's like the fact that you're able to do that. So I have to applaud you. So
Yeah.
how hard do you think it is budgeting your time between all the things that you have to do versus the things that you want to do?
Super. It's crazy, especially because the children that I have are damn near adults. You know what I'm saying? My nephew's 21. My son is 18, just graduated high school. He about to go to college. I got my niece and my daughter. They're in the senior year of school, and then I have my youngest is in 7th grade. You know what I'm saying? And all of my children operate as brothers and sisters, even though it's like stepbrother for one and niece and nephew. We all in the same household. I got all of them niggas out of New York, and that was important for me too because my goal is to break generational cycles, right? And it even goes down to something simplistic as paying rent. Like you're paying rent, you're paying another person. You don't own shit. You just paying. Then you teach your kids, all right, you got to go to school, go to college. So you can pay right now. Fuck that. I got all my kids out of fucking New York. Took them to show them that you can live in a big ass house. I'm from the projects, crack home. You live in a big ass house. You got mortgage. Now you meeting other boys and girls who live in those same type of environments. And now we're breaking a generational curse. And that was one of the reasons why I was so quick to grab those kids. But not only that, all children is invited in my home. My house is a safe haven for children. Anybody who has a child, I want you to bring, me personally, I want you to bring my kids to my house because they come to my house, they're like, oh shit, they got a big crib. It's not about that. Children are they soak this in like a sponge and they remember that. And that was one of the things that kind of got me through my childhood, even though I was going through a lot of shit. My mom and my grandmother used to send me to Maryland every year in the summertime. And my aunt and uncle in Maryland, they used to make me come in different ways. They flew me one year. They took me on the bus, drive, and showed me that there's different ways to travel. I would go see this house with a pool. I'm like, oh shit, you can have this too. They from New York. Children are very impressionable when it comes to things like that. So that's why it's important for me to send the elevator back down as we spoke.
Gotcha.
And it's beyond music. It's just life shit.
How much of the fact that, and I hate to keep bringing this up, how much of the fact that like you're kind of during your early childhood that your parents weren't really there for you, do you, feel the need to, overcompensate for what you were, what you basically were denied, and now you'll never allow your kids to ever experience that?
A gazillion percent. That's the number one driving factor.
That's awesome. That really is awesome. Aside from music, what I'm saying, like, I mean, and I did my research pretty heavily, on you because only we had
I could tell.
I only had a couple of days, what I'm saying. So it's like, so I hit up, a bunch of people, and the one thing that the general consensus is like you're a fucking good-hearted dude. You might look like a fucking like a Sicario from the fucking cartels, but you're a great fucking dude, and everyone knows that you've never fucked anyone over. I haven't heard one bad story about you. So
appreciate that.
So the fact that you're able to take on two other kids, still be able to achieve the success. I hope people are watching and they understand that it is possible. Just because there's obstacles in your way does not mean there's not multiple paths to the destination. Just like you were talking about how your aunt was, she flew you, she, had you take the bus, you drove. There's different paths to get to the same destination, or maybe your fate will take you to a different destination. So
that's a fact.
So talk to me about how'd you get caught out there and when you got locked up?
Street shit.
Yeah, that whole. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know if you're still if you're allowed to talk about it, or anything like that, or
yeah. I can touch on it briefly.
now. First, look,
So
did you do it?
of course,
Okay, he did it. Okay, all right, and he paid his time for it too. Okay, just
of
stop
course,
judging him.
I paid my time twice. So I was caught up in a situation where my mom. So what happened was and I actually got this girl pregnant in 8th grade, right?
Damn.
And this is another thing that I look at my kids, because when I was running around with guns and bugging the fuck out, I was my kid's age. That's another thing too that be just tripping me the fuck out. Well, I got this girl pregnant. My mom.
So you run around with guns and you're shooting up the club. Got it.
Well, yeah, this is before the gun shit, but I was just messing around with some girl. I got her pregnant.
Well, that's what I meant. Shooting up the club. Got her pregnant.
So my mom basically sent me to PR, and when I got to PR with my dad, I was basically exposed to this entire gang life that I just basically had no fucking idea existed. My dad is fucking pulling up with niggas in the trunk of the car, they beating niggas up and just bugged out shit. So when I came back to New York, that's the person that I came back as. I went summertime as Nelson from the block that played those dumb nights in baseball and all this shit, and I came back a full-fledged street nigga in that summer. And I just started fucking going buck the fuck wild. You know what I'm saying? I had multiple run-ins with the law. When I was 15, I got caught with a loaded gun in my locker in school. Judge had mercy on me. He instead of sending me to jail, they sent me to this program in University Heights, which is it was basically like a program school, like a program high school. When I was there, my father committed suicide. It's public record. You know what I'm saying? My father.
And I did see that, and I wanted to talk about that. I kind of didn't want to talk about that, but I feel like everything that you've been through, I feel like it is almost like a building block of who you are, despite the tragedy.
This is the shit that drives me, and this is the shit that people don't understand. Just in this conversation, I already told you, I come from a crack home. I come from a suicidal home, and look where I am.
Right, in a neighborhood that was literally built on trash. It was a landfill that was filled in. So it's like when you say you came from the mud, you really can say that shit.
I came from the mud. I'm from projects built on landfill. So my father, after the gun shit happened in high school, I had kind of made a decision that I was going to go a different path, and I got to this new school. It was a new beginning for me, and then my father basically committed suicide. You know what I'm saying? And you'll hear about it in my songs. I talk about it in my songs. I got a song called "Never Make It." I talk about it. I got this other record called "Why Do We Live to Die." I talk about it.
That song, actually, I was listening to that last night, and I'm not gonna listen. I'm not ashamed to say it. Like, I was fucking drunk as a skunk, but when I was listening to it, like, it got me. It's like I could relate. You know what I'm saying? And I almost got like teary eyed. So it's like it was some deep shit. So I fucks with your lyrics on that level.
I appreciate it. So when my father committed suicide, and my father committed suicide in a public place, like he
on the Bronx River River Highway.
On the Cross Bronx Expressway,
Cross Bronx Expressway. I'm sorry.
Yeah, which is basically I-95 in the Bronx. It's the major highway. 2:00 in the afternoon. When that happened, I just went bonkers because I just felt that moment like, yo, you don't care about yourself, so I shouldn't care about myself. And I just started going crazy. You know what I'm saying? I started going crazy. I ended up getting involved in some robbery shit. And that was that. You know what I'm saying? And I ended up getting a 3 to 6 for that. I did 30 months up top, came down, and I went right back to the streets. Because at this time, I was almost homeless. Even though my mother just couldn't deal with me. So I was sleeping on trains. Like I would literally go to 207th Street in the Heights, get on the A train, ride up the Far Rockaway, and back just to sleep. You know what I'm saying? And then hit the streets again. You know what I mean? When I came home for the 30 months, I didn't have shit, so I went right back to the streets. I met this guy named LaRue, who I love LaRue forever, because he was the first one that really showed me that I could do rap as a career. You know what I mean? Because I was always the nicest nigga, though, when it came to bars. Like, Dykeman shit. Like when I used to get money on Dykeman, niggas would pull up. If we was having a cipher, it didn't matter if you didn't rap it out, you had to rap to get the weed, period. You know what I'm saying? Niggas bad and they would sick me on niggas because I was very punchline driven.
I love those. I love those days. I wish those days would come back. Not now people carry guns and you embarrass them to be like,
yeah. So with the punchline shit, you know, that drives you as a lyricist. But so I ended up catching a crack charge. I got caught with $22, but because I got 2 priors, they basically was trying to give me an 8th to life.
They were trying to give you like a 3-time felon going
yeah,
goodbye.
I basically ran. So what happened was when I got violated by parole, I ran. And I was on the run for a year and a half. I was on the run for a year and a half when they finally got me. And them niggas got me for a bag of weed on Utica and Eastern Parkway. I was going to see my baby moms. I was on the run. Basically, I was staying like in Queens and shit. So when I got in front of the judge, nigga told me 8th to life. Like, nigga, my heart just dropped out of my fucking chest. You know what I'm saying? Eight. You know, when you hear life at the end, like it's like, nigga, it's 22 dimes of crack. But because I have a violent charge prior, they was trying to hang me. You know what I'm saying? You know, not to get too much into the story, but basically.
Oh no! Listen, elaborate. Listen, because I'm executive producing your movie. After this, we're gonna talk.
So long story short, so I got arrested for the crack charge, but I pled guilty to the disorderly conduct because the crack wasn't actually on, right? It was under a truck. I can talk about it now because it's dead. I threw it under a truck. Cops jumped out on me randomly on Valentine's Day. I was going to see a bitch. I had a dozen fucking roses and chocolates in my hand. I just happened to have to work on me because I didn't make no money that day. I flung it under the truck. I didn't have it on me. So at the end of the crack shit, I ended up copping out to disorderly conduct. But because I was charged with the crack shit, parole violated me for the crack charge. Now, for anyone who's basically in the jail system, there's a penal law code. I can't remember, but I'm going to post it on my Instagram tomorrow. It's like 2.4, some shit. And basically what it says is that parole probation cannot violate you for what's considered a violation, meaning what you cop out to. Traffic ticket, peeing in the street, open container, disorderly conduct. They cannot violate you.
So their law supersedes it for what you are actually charged for, not what you actually plea out to. So it's like if it's a crack charge that you're arrested, that violates the parole, and then you get slapped.
Well, basically, yes and no. Basically, parole, if I would have pled guilty to the crack charge, then parole would have had to violate me for the crack charge. But I didn't plead guilty to that. I plead guilty to disorderly conduct. Because I didn't have actually have it on me.
I had it confused. My apologies.
No, yeah. Basically, parole violated me for a crack charge. But that's not what I pled guilty to. I pled guilty to disorderly conduct. But they still violated me for the crack charge. So I kept getting remanded. They bouncing me around Rikers. I was in fucking OB/. I'm in C70 fucking 5. I'm in the 3 building. I'm in the Beacon. They throwing me around Rikers, and nobody knows why I'm actually there. So now I'm like, okay, there's something actually going on. Let me see what the fuck is. Let me see exactly what's going on. I found this penal law code that basically said that they have to terminate your parole if they violate you for what's considered a violation, which is not considered a crime. Again, peeing in the street, open container, disorderly conduct. Parole probation cannot violate you. So I started pressing my lawyer, and I'm pressing my moms, and I'm telling LaRue, who was basically my manager at the time, listen, I'm here for no reason. They have to let me go. This bitch is trying to give me Judge Fish in the Bronx. Shout out to that nigga. He's trying to give me an 8th to life for something that I actually didn't plead guilty to. And basically, that's how I got my parole terminated. And when I was in the courtroom, the nigga before me got 3 years for a bag of weed. For a nickel bag of weed. Because parole, they can do whatever the fuck they want. Because remember, they slap in time, you know, before whatever the fuck, I'm sure whatever you owe to the state or whatever. And yeah, I got in front of the judge, and it was like, yo, Mr. Judge Fish, and bro, never forget it. He's like, yo, Mr. Delgado, parole terminated. And at that particular moment, and you know what's weird? It was actually the day before my daughter's birthday.
Oh shit!
August 24th.
What a birthday present to her!
Ever since that day, I left the streets in that courtroom.
That's what's up. Like that's a true fucking success story. Like that's like the perfect ending to the movie, you know what I'm saying? But it's almost like your life begins from there because like now you ain't in the streets,
Yeah,
now you focused on,
yeah,
what's important,
yeah, yeah. So I left everything in that courtroom. Though I left the traumatic experience from childhood. I left everything in that courtroom. When I walked out that courtroom, I was a different nigga, and you have to be because honestly, I would have probably still been in prison right now.
Hey, if you were still in prison, who would have made the Beamer, Benz, and Bentley beat?
Oh man, here we go.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I felt like I was just possessed. Like I
Yeah,
didn't
you
I
are.
didn't
Yeah, you
I
are.
don't know what I said, but I said it.
I don't know what you said either.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so anyways, so
That lick is hitting, right? Lick is nice. That lick is good, right? Yeah.
yeah, that fucking shit. That lick is fucking hitting nice right now. But
I
you know
see.
what? But these motherfuckers don't support hip hop. That's why I got it fucking covered. So
Yeah.
liquor companies,
Yeah.
get at me because
Yeah.
I ain't too proud to
Yeah.
take your money for sponsorship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So like I said, I'm gonna start driving too. I gotta head to New York. But yeah, so that's when I'll start with you. Yeah. So that's really what that shit right there changed my fucking life. And it should. It should.
Yeah, I mean, it lit a spark plug under your ass because I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
because
Yeah.
I've been following your movement for probably the better half of like 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like since you kind of had been focused, it's like I've literally seen you pop up everywhere. So it's like for people that don't know who you are, and now I'm so glad you got your blue check because like I told so many people, I was like, he should be verified. I was like, what the fuck are they waiting for? So, I'm glad that we were able to tell a portion of your story. I don't want to tell the whole thing because I feel like there's a good movie and we can make a bag out of it. So me and you are
gonna a good movie. Yeah, it's a good movie.
Hell yeah. And I got, we'll make the soundtrack, we'll fucking do it all in-house, and we'll make that shit fucking do what it do. But what are you doing right now that you want people to know kind of about post-pandemic Amadeus? Like who are you now that things are outside? Even though, let me just take this time to say, the Delta variant is very serious, and even though you are vaccinated, I'm not saying you, I'm talking to my people, right now. If you are vaccinated, that doesn't mean that you can't contract it and transmit it. You might be good. The vaccine is designed to basically keep you in your house, not in the hospital, and not 6 feet in the ground. It's not a fucking blanket force field that just fucking bounces off fucking, coronavirus like it don't exist. Okay?
Yeah.
You still can catch it. You still can transmit it. Be safe out there. And if you haven't been vaccinated, despite what you believe and what your politics are, go get vaccinated so we can get back to normal because I need to start making some real money.
Yeah. So right now, I think when I had started this whole journey, after my deal with Universal had fell through, because I mean it's public knowledge. Like if you search me, it says Universal Music Group, and people always like, I had a single song deal with Universal.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk about all the shit that's not of public record. Because it's like you've done a bunch of interviews, so it's like I don't want to beat you to death. Like I've been an artist, for years, and people ask me the same question. So I'm trying to talk about the different things.
Well, this is prevalent in the journey and
yes,
who I'll become in 2021 because I had basically set a plan. I didn't know anybody in the industry. I didn't know anybody. I ain't got no cosigns, nothing. I didn't grow up with a famous nigga. I didn't know no executives, none of that. But I had to figure out how I was going to get there. And I came up with this 4 or 5 step phase plan, which I basically phased out, which I did in stages. And the last phase was to basically be a music executive. So this is what people are seeing now. This is who I came out of the pandemic. I came out as not only a music executive, but I'm kind of coming out as a full-fledged artist as well. My fault. I'm coming out as a full Stevie. Yeah,
I got you. I got you.
I'm coming out as a full-fledged artist as well because I'm seeing that people really like me as a fucking rapper.
They do.
You know what I'm saying?
They do. Listen, they do. Like they trust me. I like listen. I put the cosign on him. That's it. Okay.
Yeah,
Listen, Amadeus, he's nice. That's it.
People really like this shit, man. They really, you know, I get the Jada shit. I don't really give a fuck about it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like niggas are saying I'm whack. They just comparing me to something they know. That's it. It's my
No,
voice.
no, you got. Like, I'm trying to remember the one bar that stuck out to me. You were like running with the gun up, hustle hard till the sun up. You know, I'm in the yard spinning bars until I spin a lung
up. Then it's back to the kitchen on the stove. My wrist whipping. Fiends get the sniff until they feel their nose ripping. I'm back in commission. I ain't taking no shortbread. Bullets like number 2 when I'm feeding them raw leg. Infrared leaving them all dead. They gonna think you niggas are Indians with red dots on their forehead. My speakers on, smacking whack rappers with either arm. I flow like the fucking heat is on, then my fever gone. Niggas better duck when the heat is drawn. Slugs have you feeling like you standing on the sun with those sneakers on. My block ride, all you hear is sirens when shots fly. You a breath of fresh air while I'm carbon monoxide. Oh, you ain't heard I'm the top guy, and none of you niggas can see me like you got Fetty Wap side. It's young.
Oh my God, mic drop bars. Right there. That provides me with the perfect clip to send in the promo. You know, when I'm advertising this. But
and shout out to my peers, like artists that I've worked with. Yo, shout out to my brother Snipe Life in particular. You know, shout out to my label mates, because these are the guys that's really encouraging me to really, you know what I'm saying, take music a little more serious. Not that I don't, but I know my purpose is bigger than just rapping. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of do the things around it. If my destiny was to be an artist, it would have happened already. That's not what it is. But it doesn't mean that I can't put out records and, you know what I'm saying, flow and do what I want to do. But again, people are fucking gravitating towards what I'm doing as a musician. They want to hear that boom bap shit. I have my own sound. It reminds people of, like, you know, I'm on these beats that sound like pre-95-ish.
I mean, it's very Preem and Alchemist inspired beats, you know, which I love. You know, I love that, you know, sample, record scratch, spin back, make that the chorus, you know, like it's a blessing to hear that. And me and you definitely got to jump on the track together, because our styles will literally shit on a whole bunch of, like, we're gonna make a lot of people retire, you know,
as you should.
Absolutely. But listen, I appreciate you taking your time. I want you to focus on whenever you get a chance. And now that we're back outside again, we're definitely going to link up soon. We're going to make some shit, happen. I like to leave you with a quote that basically I end all my podcasts with, and I'd like you to apply it to life, as I'm sure you probably do already. We are all just here for a small cup of coffee. I'm just trying to drink it while it's still hot. This is your boy, I am JopauL. We were just kicking it with the infamous Amadeus. This is the Verified Podcast. We are sponsored by Private Reserves and Results of No Hype. We are out of here. And I am drunk as a fucking skunk right now. One love.